Merry Monday, Mus. It's Tom and Adam, like the good old days, but still socially distanced. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm grand. You have a nice weekend?
I had a lovely weekend. It's always good when you have to start these calls and make an apology in the event that you did something whilst drunk on Friday night. That's always a good start.
It was a big one, wasn't it?
It
Mad
was a
lads,
big one.
you and I.
We were mental, mate. We were. I don't think I got into bed till 10
I've got to
p.m.
come clean. Tom, you sucked me off.
Oh, not again.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's the highlight.
That's the highlight.
What is this? What is this?
It's a very honest opening to some wrestling news. I didn't really. WWE had huge plans for an Impact Wrestling star. Meanwhile, a popular AEW star has undergone surgery, and a top lad from Raw wants his old theme music back. Find out who in a bit. Moose, not my words, the words of a hairstylist placing an order, and the words of popular Impact Wrestling star Moose as he makes his way to the Moose.
That's right. That's what he says.
That's exactly what he says. Moose all the time, and does all this as well. And some moose-shaped news this morning regarding what could have been for him going forward. Isn't that right, Adam?
That's right. A lot of interest in the Moose. According to Fightful Select, WWE wanting to sign Moose ahead of his re-signing with Impact. And not just that, they had big things in store for him. He wasn't going to be hanging out with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and that lot down there. He's going to go straight to the main roster. But he ended up signing with Impact. He's been with Impact for a long time. He really does feel like an Impact guy. And like they push him, don't they? They seem to really care about him. But the fact that he was going to go main roster, maybe they would have done him right there. But who knows?
I think WWE seem to really like Moose, but the two haven't sort of compromised yet on the right deal. Because I'm sure this isn't the first time that we've heard rumblings of WWE wanting to bring Moose in. And you look
It's
at it,
fallen apart before.
It has, because he's got all the trappings of a WWE guy. Like he's got everything that they're looking for, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, maybe in the next 18 months, some sort of deal is met. I think we're getting closer each time to Moose joining WWE.
Yeah, I mean, I'd quite like to see him there. I think he's a guy who, he's just improved so much. Not to have a go at him or anything, he wouldn't care. When I first started watching him, he wasn't great. He wasn't great at all. But now he's something else. He's really, really impressive in the ring. I know this is something that's thrown around a lot, but he does stuff that a guy of his size shouldn't be able to do, right? He's one of those. And yeah, I'd like to see him there. But you know what? If he's happy in Impact and they've got the money to pay him, I imagine he's becoming pretty expensive at this point. He's a big star.
Big star from one to another. Let's head over to AEW, where the guy who pretty much put wrestling on his shoulders around Double or Nothing, Anthony Ogogo, is in the news today. He's back on the injured list. On the Instagrams, he cut a promo to Billy Gunn, telling him he's going to basically beat Seven Shades out of him, not long after he come out of surgery. So Ogogo, in this video, he's got his nose all taped up, and basically he's had his 10th eye surgery. He's had all sorts of issues with his eye. He's got 10 eyes.
I've only got 3.
He's just showing off. He's just showing off. You and your third eye. I've told you not to mention it. But yeah, this is his 10th time under the knife for the eye. So much so that there's so much scar tissue around his eye they have to go via his nose to operate on his eye.
Oh, man,
so that's
rough.
why his face is all like this. But he still cuts a banger of a promo, even still high on the morphine. But in terms of what this means for Ogogo, there's no confirmed return date for him yet. And even one news source speculating that he may not come back at all, which I find doubtful. That this is the end of the road for Ogogo.
He's not going to get out and then start cutting promos if he's not coming back. You know what? I love seeing him on TV. I think he's great value. So yeah, I hope he gets well soon. He's been through the ringer, hasn't he?
He really has, but nothing is going to stop Ogogo. Andrade in the news, another AEW guy who was going to be part of this big wrestling show out of Mexico, and he had a chat with Lucha Libre Online to say why that show fell apart.
saying we reached on an agreement on how the payments were going to be made, how I was going to manage myself, and how flights were going to be booked, because we did not want to deal with any issues. They were late in several payments, and I simply told them that I wasn't going to go if the payments weren't made, and I did not want to have any trouble. I also spoke to Roosh to see what he thought, and he said he thought it was the same, that they hadn't given him anything. We were 5 days before the show, and we had not received any payment. Seems pretty bloody reasonable.
This was the Federación Wrestling show that just seemed to have this really stacked card, and they made a lot of promises that they didn't seem to keep. And you know what? I think in a different time, a lot of wrestlers probably would have gone along and will probably get paid on the night. But Andrade's like, nah, you haven't paid me yet, as promised, so not happening. And that seemed to be the case for a few of the talents there as well, it seemed like. One more bit of AEW news. This is hot AEW news. I'm sure that we could probably label this on Cultaholic.com as AEW star unveils new look, if we haven't done so already. Moxley's had a shave.
That's right. He's a
lovely.
baldy man.
Big
do you
baldy
reckon
man
it suits
now.
him?
I think it suits him. He looks a little bit like a very angry Sam Roberts, but I think that
does.
there's a little bit of a Sam Roberts about him, isn't there?
Don't tell him that. How's your hairline looking, Tom?
I'm good. My dad has got hair for days, so I'm all right for hair. But I always made the promise to myself that should it start going, I'm not going to hang on. Like, I've got mates I went to school with who've got like these bits here. I won't name names, but these bits here, and it's like, oh, just shave them, just get them gone.
I agree.
Get them gone.
Own it, right? It always looks better. I was talking to Andrew about this because when he joined, he had hair like down there, didn't he? He was a hairy, curly-haired man, but he looks way better now.
So much so. And Moxley is taking time off at the moment because obviously he's on paternity leave. He's sizing up a match with Onita and getting geared up for a match with Nick Gage in GCW. So busy man. It's really lovely and heartwarming to see Jon Moxley seemingly creatively satisfied at the moment.
Yeah, he's loving it, isn't he? He seems happy.
We'll end on one more bit of news regarding theme musics and a Raw star that wants to bring back their popular theme music, and it's not the one you think. Chances are you got to this and thought, all right, we know about No More Words, Jeff Hardy, see the writing on the wall. Not even that one, is it, Adam?
It's not. It's the other one that you know about. It's Drew McIntyre saying that he wants to bring back Broken Dreams, which he bloody well should. But the interesting thing about this is he's taken a little pop at Sheamus while talking on the Battleground podcast. He said, I don't see anyone asking for lobster head. Everyone's asking about Broken freaking Dreams. One of these days, that music is going to come back. I hear this question all the time. I see it every day on social media. One of these days, I'm going to get it approved. I'm sure he said it was coming back. I'm sure he did. I'm positive we still have the rights to it. They do. Everybody in the crowd better know the words to that song, because I go out there and people are like, what's that? Because if I go out there and people are like, what's that? I'm going to be let down. I will get that song and I'll ensure that Sheamus will never have a lobster head as his theme song again. I really, really want to see it back. And you know what? I've been looking at WWE's social media and the response to Drew has changed massively. Fan sentiment toward Drew has changed massively. People are really fed up of him. And I'm sure they would be a bit more forgiving if he wasn't in the main event scene time and time again. But man, people are bored of Drew, looking at their social media anyway. I think turn him heel and give him that. That's the perfect time to re-debut that song, because it's an annoying song. I love the song and everything, but it's got like a minute-long build-up to it, and like him coming out all cocky and badass and nasty and making people wait for a minute, I think it'd be really effective.
Oh, that is a spicy booking opportunity created by one Adam Pacitti.
Thank you.
More news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Out of time, so love you, bye.
I'll see you.